Darksiders was released in 2010 for the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 and was developed by Visual Games and published by THQ at that point. Now it's THQ Nordic, and the current developers and the people working on Darksiders is Gunfire Games. But there was a Darksiders Genesis game done, which is actually pretty good, which is the fourth game in the series, which is developed by Airship Syndicate. However, although this video is a review on Darksiders, I'm not reviewing the 2010 version, I'm reviewing the more recent War Mastered version. And when I say more recent, I mean like the one that's like 10 years old. So, we got that? Cool, we got that. Well, actually, technically it's 9 years old. But, there you go. Anyway, Darksiders is essentially what you get when you get The Legend of Zelda and make it a lot more darker and gothic and a lot more gory. And that's what Darksiders is. You take control of one of the four horsemen of the apocalypse, war, where the apocalypse has started, the bell was rung, as he says, a war begins on Earth between heaven and hell, and basically the Charred Council believe that war is the one that started all this and caused humanity to go extinct. Then he gets put into exile or into prison, so say, and 100 years pass on Earth and he wants to clear his name, so he gets sent back onto Earth to try and basically find the one who's responsible for causing the apocalypse and clearing his name. Will he do it? Well, that's up for you to find out. It is a absolutely solid game and a joy to play through. Yes, it's a little archaic in some of its gameplay elements and whatnot. It is essentially like as a Zelda clone, that's what it is, but it does have some pretty cool combat that does start off very basic, but as you progress and keep playing through the game, you will unlock more and more combos as you collect souls, and you take those souls to Volgrim, which is awesome. Volgrim's a great character, and I want to point out as well that the voice acting throughout the game is fantastic, and the characters are really cool as well.
She suffered.
Not nearly enough.
Beautiful. The second guardian, the Griever, moves in tunnels beneath this place. But first there is an obstacle that must be removed. Ulthane, one of the old ones.
You didn't mention that before.
Changing the deal already, Sarael.
Be silent, filth. My business is with the horsemen.
The Watcher, who's voiced by Mark Hamill, who is linked to war to keep an eye on him by the Charred Council. Mark Hamill does a fantastic job there. Just kind of sounds like the Joker on your arm. Volgrim is really cool, and like, can you trust him? Can you not? There's also the demon Samael, and essentially the main crux of the game is you're going to search for the hearts of the Chosen, which are these bosses essentially, and you got to take those hearts back to Samael, and then he will get you where you need to go. The game is a lot of fun. It does have a good story. It's not super long, so it won't absorb your time. Just on my recent replay through, it took me around about 15ish hours to do the game. Now that's not doing everything that the game has to offer. The game does have a lot of side stuff and bonus things for you to find, for you to increase your rage meter, your health, etc. And by using the weapons, you also level them up, so you have to just keep killing enemies with the different weapons, which is really cool. You get his sword, which is called Chaos Eater, which is incredible. It's like one of the most coolest swords ever. You also get to utilize a scythe. You get to have a revolver eventually. You also get your horseback ruin as well, which is pretty cool. That's more sort of in the later game, but it's also got some Metroidvania-esque stuff, the same as with The Legend of Zelda, where you need certain abilities or items or whatever to be able to access areas that you previously had to just walk past and leave, and that adds to replayability, that adds to just backtracking to find things, which is pretty cool. But here, the combat and the exploration is the main focal point of Darksiders, and it does its job really well. There's some really good parkouring around where you can grab onto ledges and do all sorts of other things. I have to say that the different dungeons with the Chosen in, for the bosses, the main dungeons, they're all different. They're not the same. They're not rinse and repeat exactly the same. Like the first major one you go to would be like the really cool gothic looking castle for Tiamat, the big bat lady creature thing, Gizmo.
Has the council reduced the horsemen your loyalty. Because if all of us are your rider, perhaps we can strike a deal.
You like my terms.
And and it's that one's more Legend of Zelda-y, and there's others which is just a lot different. The boss fights are also different as well in what they entail and what you have to do, so it doesn't ever get like super repetitive and stale. Now of course the combat towards the beginning of the game, like I mentioned, is a lot more basic, so you will find that the combat, maybe you might be like, oh, this is a bit samey, I can grab them, I can pick up items, cars, whatever, and throw them at enemies, and I can just perform the same combo moves. And there's also, once you sort of stun enemies, you can then press the X button or whatever console you're playing on, and you can perform like a cool finisher move, which is pretty gnarly. But as the game progresses, like I said, you unlock loads more combos, and the game just becomes, you can just string all these different attacks and abilities together, and it is really awesome. There's also like little gates and like optional sort of trials that you can do as well for bonuses at the end for more souls and whatnot. There are like collectibles in terms of like soldier antiques that you can find, and you can just sell them to Volgrim for obviously more souls. Souls is the aim of the game here. But it's got really awesome cutscenes, it's got fantastic voice acting, it's got really fun gameplay, although it is a game now that's 15 years old in concept, because the War Mastered edition is just a remastered version of the original game anyway, so I suppose this review can sort of be for that one as well. But Darksiders is 100% worth picking up. I give it a very high rating. It's always been one of my favourites. It's a game that I bought on the Xbox 360 and have played quite a few times. It's a ton of fun. There are some puzzles which are obviously very annoying, which can happen in a lot of games where there are puzzles. It's just not that they're difficult, it's just they're fiddly and backwards and forwards, that kind of thing. And the only other negative I'll say is that some like the special attacks that you do once you stun an enemy, they can be repetitive if you just keep doing them over and over again. But the rest of the game, all the pluses for Darksiders really outweighs the negatives. We do have a Darksiders 4 in production, which is official, and I can't wait for that one to come. I have never actually played Darksiders 3, so I will do that one eventually, and I will have a review for Darksiders 2, the definitive version, when I eventually get around to it. But yeah, recently I had the itch to play through Darksiders, and I was so glad I did. This game goes on offer on Steam or on Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, whatever you want. It goes on offer all the time. It's dirt cheap. It's dirt cheap to pick up physically as well if you're a collector, and it's well worth it. If you love Legend of Zelda and you've not played Darksiders, you are really in for a treat, and I do envy anybody that plays this game for the first time, because it's just so damn good. There are of course other things with the game that I'm not going to spoil for you that are all pluses and awesomeness. Like, I haven't gone too much into the fact that War can turn into a big old demon for a time and slash things up. I'm sure I've edited in some gameplay of that here as I record my audio before the gameplay. So, well, that's not true. I have the gameplay recorded. I've not smushed the video together yet, so that's my method. That's how I roll. But I got to get these things in as and when I can between full-time work and my children. So, you know, please bear with me on that one. I'm not a full-time YouTuber, so there is that. But please let me know in the comments down below if you have checked out Darksiders. Like I said, it is well worth picking up. It's a fantastic hack and slash adventure Zelda clone, and it's just a franchise that I really enjoyed. Darksiders 2 as well is really good, and for many other reasons, and they're both equally as awesome to me, because War is a really cool character. He's badass, he takes no shit, he's just great. But please let me know what you think down below, and as always, thank you very much for watching.
Here comes the welcome party.